Good morning from another cold as fuck night. We are really not going to waste any time for the second 7 and 7. What is 7 and 7, you might be wondering? It is a challenge that I set myself because I can't resist challenges. One of my favourite podcasts, Fated Mates, mentioned at the start of the Kindle era this author who wrote her backlist or something like that. Uh, Frankly, I don't remember how I came to 7 books in a year, but I did. So that's that's what we're doing. And what, you may be wondering, are we up to this time? I don't know. I recently saw Hadestown with a reunion of most of the original primary cast, and I came away with this lovely, lovely, lovely idea that we're not going to be writing. I remembered that I'm very good at writing monthly prompts, and there's this blog and Tumblr called Nosebleed Prompts. And about over a year ago, I reached out to them on and asked, hey, I really like these prompts. Would it be okay if I wrote them and then published them as a collection? And they were like, yeah, that's great. Let us know when you do that, and we will help promo it. They were very nice. That is the one and only monthly prompt that I did not finish. And it wasn't because it wasn't good. I kind of got too in my head about it. I didn't want to write a typical narrative structure. I wanted more of these to be like a scene, a vignette. And then the further along I got in it, the more I started to panic, because this isn't your typical structure. There's no plot to keep anyone interested, and it all kind of collapsed in that way. I haven't looked at the prompts yet because vlog, but I'm not going for March, I'm going for February, because it has the least number of days, and so it has the least number of prompts, and therefore it buys me some time. Now, to reiterate, what I said before I began writing any of these is you're probably going to have the best luck with romance, because it's you can get away with a small cast, and the focus is on emotions and tension, and that's easier to write. And then I went for like an absurd book that was very actiony, and it's in hindsight, of course, it was never going to go great. I'm not so down on action and adventure this time. Not that Guns a Go Go was very adventure-y, but I'm not as down on it this time because having a little bit of a through line, a little bit of connection besides just the challenge, would probably be beneficial. But I definitely am more aware of where my strengths lie this time around. Nosebleed Club, Tumblr, those are the March prompts. Nope, okay. Nope. February prompts. Oh no. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that could not have been worse. We are definitely going to focus on a relationship, but we're going to go more action adventure. That's the only way I can see this working. Okay, so maybe not the worst. I'm getting excited. I can definitely work with this. So, to be clear, I gave myself the 28 days to get the first draft done. I don't expect it will take an actual 28 days, but I only wrote in the first 2 days, so we'll see how that goes. How this usually goes is I pick a prompt blog. Sometimes I've seen them before, sometimes not. I tend to kind of skim the prompts, and if I like the overall vibe of it, I'll pick it. And then I tend to write them basically the day of, starting at least, I guess, like 12 hours before it has to go up, which is usually like 10 in the morning. So I am used to, like, it is a thing that encourages me to write fast. And I feel like I tend to get a cohesive narrative out of it. Okay, no, I'm getting distracted. I think I'd be feeling better if Briefcase was actually finished, and I think for a first draft it could be, but I'm not happy to leave it where it is. I literally can feel the words slipping between my fingers and away into the ether. I gave myself the 28 days because I thought that would account for bed days. It took me like 5 hours of like actually trying to fall asleep to be able to do that. And of course, with my condition, I don't wake up feeling refreshed at all. So it's not, I don't know when this is gonna get better. Okay, so it is breakfast time. Went down for that at 10 p.m. If you want to know how things are going, not great. So I don't actually feel that bad about the project overall. I'm actually a lot more confident in this than I was in Guns a Go Go. For numerous reasons. Like, I sat down to write Guns a Go Go, and it was, like, I had the idea of this guy is going to try and kill his way to the top of his crime family and take over that way. And it was like, that's the gist, and that's what you have to write. But with this, the joy of prompts is that you just sit down and the first prompt in mind and just start writing. And the moment I started writing, the style of it immediately put me in mind of like historic. So I don't know, I think, I mean, I kind of know we can say a little bit, but I'm not like actually setting it in a historical period. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be beholden to history in that way. I am pedantic in ways that are really annoying to me, and I didn't want to deal with that on a tight schedule. But also, actually doing like actual history periods didn't even occur to me. So when I started Briefcase, which was the second prompt, and I haven't finished that, I kind of could have left it where it was, and I decided actually no, I wanna continue on with this a little bit. I already had, like, this is an era when men wore suits. This is an era where men wore hats, and this is obviously an era where briefcases are a thing. So I'm not saying steampunk. We're not thinking steampunk, but I also would be lying if I said we're not. We are kind of. Listen, I've been playing an awful lot of Fallen London lately, and that is definitely an influence. That's definitely an influence. forgive me, I did say that I was going to get a stand, a tripod for when I'm filming this so that it's not so shaky, but I don't have it with me right now. I was also supposed to talk about some influences, I think, but starting on prompt 3, which is Rocking Horse, my brain immediately went to Hainai. I wonder how people are going to react to chapter 3, because I think that's going to be the make or break point for a lot of people. It feels like it's been a make or break point for me, frankly. So I kind of had to stop trying to force it, and then I said, I'm going to do a roll, and I'm just going to write once I do that. And it has caused a tone shift because Marianne has begun to talk, and I like it. I like the tone shift. I feel like that makes it more real. All of the other ones are kind of like mysteries. Who is Madeline? Who is Aldous? Why is his eye so gross? And why is he, watching out for this briefcase? And then Marianne comes in with like, what is this rocking chair? And then it's very swiftly, oh fucking this fucking thing. I don't know if we're going to find out what the rocking chair is, because I don't think the rocking chair matters, and thank God, because I think this would have been a hell otherwise. I did plan on like giving it like a tenuous connection to Madeline, but I think it works better if you just don't know what it is, and if it just does not matter. I mean, who knows though? We might, if Madeline ever does show up, we might find out what it is. So this is really interesting because prompt 4 was going to be Martin coming home. He's married, he has kids, and it was going to be like a character piece because he's still thinking about this letter from Magdalene, from the fact that he is still feeling like this magnetic pull towards her. It's not necessarily romantic, and it wasn't ever necessarily romantic, but something about that makes it uncomfortable for him. But when I sat down today, I thought, wait a minute, we can do something else with this. This takes me back to the academy, actually. I was writing something on Fiction Press and I got a comment that was like, hey, this isn't how stories work, right? None of your chapters connect to one another. And I was like, motherfucker, this is something I'm doing in my spare time for fun. And it wasn't even just like I'm in school, it's like I've been in school. I know how narrative works. I'm not a dumbass. And, I still stand by that. For that. But I understand that being a problem here. Again, this is a first draft, so I'm not too bothered about things not having that connective tissue, especially because I think I can tie it back to Aldous or Marianne. But yeah, it is something that I have a lot more tolerance for writing than it is something I have tolerance for reading. Oh fuck. I did not remove the words playhouse from chapter 3. And so this entire time the word count has been off by 2 words. And I know it's just 2 words, but I have so few words that it just feels awful. And it hasn't worked. I knew what I wanted this chapter to be. I wanted it to be connected to Martin. I wanted it to be its own like kind of a play on like haunted house. And it's not working. It's not working at all. The writing style of it even it's nothing. It's a mess. And I hate reading it. And the same is true for chapter 4, Underling. Like I know what I want this to be, and I really like this kid. And I it's great because you meet this kid who is the underling and you meet his boss, and I like both of them, and it's awful to read. It's inept. This is day 17 out of 49, however, and I'm saying if we get to 20, and this isn't close to being done or done, then I'm going to ditch it. And we went to Loch recently, and there was a ruin at the very end of this trail. It's a beautiful place, it's a bird sanctuary, and I think I can do something with that. I think I can do something really interesting with that if this doesn't work out. So I had a really, really nice idea that Theodore's boss would be like man of the city, boy of the city, and therefore that the mines would be within view of the city on like a clear day across the marshlands. And then I thought, well, if we were going to like ground it closer to real world, then it'd be better to put it up north, up in the moors, tied into the playhouse. And like that really excited me because I really need more of a grasp on what the playhouse is. And I think you could really do some fun stuff with that, given what happens in the mine with this guy. I think you could really kind of lean a bit more gothic with it, but then you lose out on like man of the city, and I don't know if I can give that up. It's just really exciting to have like so much possibility with a decision in this project. So I did not write yesterday because it was a bad day, but we're almost at 2,500, which is I mean, it's not great. Let's be real, it's not great. Today's day 20 out of the 20 days I gave myself, and we're on prompt 7, which is also not great. I'm really excited about this one though, so we will see. We will see. The prompt for 7, by the way, is think. Hello from the dark. I am not getting off my ass, so we're just gonna have to deal with it, okay? As you saw, there has been a pivot. I saw that fan made video for a show that I utterly fell in love with, Love Game and Eastern Fantasy. It is an SU series. It's really funny and really. I found the end very heartfelt. I know a lot of people felt it missed the mark, and it had shed some of the absolutely fantastic comedy that it opened with, but I really loved it. And I thought it was going to be something like that, of like, the four bamboo masters, as they termed themselves, going out and dealing with Yao, which are spirits. Just something simple, a play on a show that I loved, and therefore something that I could handle easily. And we pivoted immediately into emotional devastation. Like, the dad was just supposed to like be somewhere else, and he's dead now. And I think I made it a murder mystery, which is not a genre that I have any experience writing, which is terrifying. But the clues to the murder mystery are Fusang, and a bee, which is a bee is that kind of ornamental disc with a hole in the center. It can be plain. We have a plain one, which you cannot see. Like, you can't see most things, but there are some like really ornately decorated ones, and I think that if Wikipedia is to be believed, and I don't want to believe Wikipedia, it relates to heaven, whereas Fusang is the tree of life, which is another thing that I really don't know much about. But it's a bronze statue, like the ones at Sanshingdoi. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I think this is gonna go horribly. So I guess it's a good job that I've been getting like 100 words a day in for February Dreer anyway. This is not how I write the other ones, and I think the reason that the other ones went so well was because even though I never had a plot for them in advance, I knew the characters were the same characters over time. And so I had something more than just like a blank slate. But I don't know, both there's still possibility with both of them. Common sense says that I should probably just pick one. And I will not. So we will, yeah. Imminent crash, probably imminent, but we will see. Okay, so you're probably not going to be told this because you're not an idiot like I am. Do not let your laptop go to 0% battery. Please remember to save and don't have all your project relevant tabs and the incognito tabs. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, I've been meaning to go through those with you. Okay, we start here because we did start here. We lost the recent searches. We've lost one of them, just because there's only so many that they record. Ziyu is our main character. I'm not so sure. Listen, murder mystery really took me by surprise. But Ziyu and Huan Yu, both of those names come from My Journey to You, which is another Esther Yu drama. That's probably like the elephant in the room. We're not going to talk about her. Maybe. This one is, was it? Oh, Ju. That's Ziyu's surname. This is just the My Journey to You character page because I wanted the names. What was I searching? Oh, okay. I don't know why I wanted that name. I can't remember why. This is a really interesting one though. Yeah. Like I said, Fusang. I can't. The screen is too dark and I cannot see what tone that is. I know it's a high A. It's a high tone on the A, but this is great. This is Jingja. I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I don't think. Jingja, which is a solar term. And if you do like the booktube stuff on my channel, you're probably tired of hearing about solar terms. But we are probably between coming up to the last pentad. Timeline wise, it was going to be important, but again, then we went murder mystery. This is just a list of names, a list of villages, and this is what we went with. Haiyan. I'm not pronouncing that correctly, absolutely not. I failed stone completely. It is like a port city, but in my head at least, that was the name when it was like a wee teeny weeny fishing village. So we have actually been doing quite good today in terms of word count. We've had to pause now and then because need to make sure the laptop doesn't fall off the bed. My head has felt like it's about to spin off my shoulders for a good part of that writing, however, so how much of this is actually usable is, well, we'll see. So I should point out a thing about the names, which has been my intention pretty much all along, but I just haven't brought it up. And that is, I usually write out full names, which I've not been doing. I'm going to be nice and not use like courtesy names here. We do have nicknames, but I feel like that would be going just a little bit too far, possibly, and also I don't really want to spend the time looking up and planning courtesy names, given how slow this has been progressing. So yeah, when you read this, it's probably going to say like Shu Shintong instead of just Shintong. The reason I don't have the surnames in this draft is because I want to concentrate on getting like a more kind of accurate sense of word count, and then I can like bolster it with that. There was a conversation that I've been wanting to write for days and days and days, and we finally got to it, and it's a lot more interesting now than it was then. We're going to have to cover a lot here, so excuse that. They're talking about concert Balin, which is maybe kind of a person of interest, and Huan Yu is saying we can trust her because she is of noble breeding and she is virtuous. And I think that's really interesting in that this is kind of a role reversal from the TV show that this was heavily inspired by, in that he is the son of a sect leader and therefore his illegitimate brother is too. And Yueru is the daughter of like this official. Shintong is the only one who isn't. She's got no prestige behind her, which I think is probably a saving grace. She is. Yueru is currently out of commission, so it's just these two guys and her, and she's the one with the brain cell. She is the one who is taking care of people, like not necessarily mothering, but I think it's very interesting to look at that from the perspective of someone who did not grow up in a sect and did not have, like a teacher in that way, has not been in this since she was a child, and she's had to pick up what she can here and there. And yeah, I think that gives her a lot more texture. Make no mistake, she is very competent on her own, which is kind of why I brought up like the two guys, and then the woman is the one with the one brain cell kind of thing. She is very competent, but she also kind of needs them because she couldn't do what she does as well or as effectively on her own. And I think that's just a really interesting dynamic. On the bright side, I'm finally getting really, really good at being like, I really want to keep writing more in this chapter. It's not right to end it here, but I don't want to like spend the next few hours racking my brains for something that is not that important in the moment. Also, I do really like that sentiment, and the words are not coming out the right way. Interestingly enough, the first name that I looked up fits with the brothers' names, so I can't use that. And then the second one, I think Lun is the same as the other consort, so I can't use that one either. Okay, so this I think I can work with, but I think calling it a murder mystery pulled me off track. Like, what it was inspired by, that really had a lot of kind of adventure elements that kind of fell to the wayside. But also focusing on, like, oh, it's a murder mystery. I do really love, like, supernatural murder mysteries, but I think I let those elements fall to the wayside when I got into, like, okay, it's a murder mystery mindset. So I think, I mean, it's really hard because right now I am once again, I don't know how, like, this was supposed to, like, free me, but I have 3 reviews to get done this month. So I know what books I want to read. 2 books in 1 academic paper, and I just don't have the time for it. So I'm really enjoying this. It isn't fulfilling anything for me in terms of, like, a sequel, even just like a very loose kind of vibey thing. Happy for the people who it is, but, like, we need to talk about 7 and 7 because there are a few. I'm not especially happy with Guns a Go Go, but I'm not ashamed to have published it because it is very heavily marketed as this is something that I began and finished within a 7-week span. I don't shy away from that fact. It is in the blurb. The ebook is pay what you will, and I feel like most people are going to see that, and if they're still interested, they'll just take it for free, and that's fine. But I can't justify doing that with this because that is just grossly negligible of me to force it through. This could be an amazing book, and I'm not going to rush it. And I did say, I think at the start of this, that there would be times when I'd have to take stock of this challenge. And I did think maybe I would spend 14 weeks on a book instead of 7. That is not what's going to happen because I don't want to rush. I said what I said about February Dreer, but hear me out. Last year, my friends and I took a little detour from D&D and we tried Kids on Bikes, which is a system that I absolutely fell in love with. And I also fell in love with my girl, who, she was like 12, and in her opening scene, she woke up in a graveyard, because she just does that sometimes. She has like her blankie, and her parents know that she sometimes goes and sneaks out and sleeps in the graveyard. Very goth. And I did say to them afterwards, listen, I love my girl and I really want to write something with her, kind of inspired by her. And it wouldn't include your characters because it's more present day. But she would still know characters who are kind of based on your characters. And it does kind of pull from the events of the one shot. And they said that was fine. So I did end up writing like an outline for a short story to maybe submit to a magazine last year, and last year was just horrible for burnout, and I didn't do it because I was sensible for once, which is what I'm not being currently. We are going to play a sequel, one shot, in about 2 weeks' time, and I'm so excited to play her again. But I think I would really like to write that short story before my perception of her changes in that year since the events of the first one. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. You will still be hearing about both February Dreer and God, I have to come up with a better document title than you. But we're not quite that far yet. I do have a research list, and it will be included in the back of the ebook. Okay, no, I'm getting distracted again. That's the plan. I hope you love my girl too. Okay, so we are about 600 and something words in. It has been slow going because I had another review to do and a D&D session to plan and run last night, and today is like my first day off in a while, so yeah, I did debate whether to write or not because it is fun, and ultimately I decided it does count more as work, and so I wrote like 3 words and then I noped out. So the short story that I mentioned, ultimately the idea for that would never have worked on its own. It would have been better as like a prologue to the novel. So we're not really going for that, but we're taking a lot of cues from it. I have a vague idea of where I want this to go. I'm not that concerned at the moment, and I think I am probably being a bit too lax, but I filled in yesterday's word count and I didn't feel despair because I'm still burned out. And I think I was wrong. Whatever this was going to be in the weeks after that first game, it's not that now. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the aftermath of those events will be and playing them out. And maybe that's what I need. Maybe what I need is to just not do this. This is day 42 of 49, and I don't think taking a week off is going to miraculously fix everything that I need it to fix, but I don't think it's going to hurt either. So we might have 6 books this year instead of 7. We might have less, and I think it's ultimately for the best that I have gotten to a point where I can let myself let something fail. But I also don't want to call it a failure because I like parts of what I've written in all of these projects, and I think they do have potential, but just not like this. So thank you for watching, and hopefully we will have something a little bit better next time.